Right at the very start of the story, our hero Kuju Kyuya finds himself on a barren piece of land. He doesn't know where he is, but a supernatural being appears, welcoming him and telling him she has been waiting for him. To understand how things reached this point, we need to go back a little, because this is the story of a truly unique hero, one who could not quite succeed in saving the world. The scene shifts to the present. Kyuya stands in a uniform, feeling out of place. Everyone around him seems to be a freshman. Suddenly, a laughing sound comes from his bag, and a cat leaps out. He calls her Felice and warns her not to come out, but she snaps back that she was bored. Kyuya pushes her head back into the bag, anxious about what others might think. She fires back, questioning why he always worries about appearances. Felice clearly skipped the obedience chapter entirely. The truth is, Kyuya is nervous. It's been a long time since he's met anyone other than Felice. Ignoring him, Felice leaps out again. A girl spots her, squeals in shock, and runs to Kyuya, gushing about how cute the cat is. Slightly taken aback, Kyuya asks if she's a returnee. Yes, she replies confidently, introducing herself as Kamari, a freshman. Immediately, she announces she wants to show him her invitation card, but she can't find it. She digs through her pockets like they're a mystery novel. Kyuya observes her restlessness and realizes this girl is far from ordinary. When she finally produces the card, he recognizes it immediately. It's the same invitation he received from the academy. The bell rings. Kamari declares the entrance ceremony is about to begin, and they need to rush. Felice finds Kamari fascinating, earning an annoyed glare from Kyuya, who reminds her to behave and stay out of sight. Soon, they arrive at the Academy's 13th entrance ceremony. Freshmen fill the hall, listening to a speech. The Prime Minister rehearses as if no one is paying attention, and in fact, no one is. Kyuya and Felice whisper gossip, while everyone else ignores the speech entirely. Felice murmurs that he should do the same. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister thanks everyone on behalf of the government for maintaining justice across worlds, blissfully unaware that no one is listening. She then hears a lady step in, Kuzuha, who interrupts him, pointing out that no one cares and that he might as well leave. Kuzuha introduces herself as the Academy's executive officer and announces she will take over from here. She explains that the school is a quarantine faculty. Every student is a hero, each possessing enough power to save the world. She stresses that the country cannot waste such power and will not force anyone to stay. Those who wish to leave may seal their memories and abilities with the Academy's divine help. Some students are reluctant to lose their powers, so the Academy offers a special arrangement. Kuzuha emphasizes that this is no dangerous experiment, even drawing a comparison to movies to make it clear. The students grow impatient, urging her to get to the point. She snaps her fingers, transforming the hall's atmosphere. Strange creatures begin dropping from the ceiling, poised to wipe everyone out. Kyuya panics, while Felice watches, utterly intrigued. All the freshmen panic, fearing that with monsters present, everyone needs to snap out of it and run. Yet among them, some stand their ground, weapons drawn, ready to face the threat head-on. Within moments, they cut down every single creature. A strange, electric uproar fills the hall. The monsters had genuinely not seen that coming. Kyuya watches it all unfold and thinks to himself in quiet awe, do returnees really possess powers like this? Just then, Kuzuha steps down from the stage and remarks that this year's freshmen are quite energetic. When asked if she is testing them, she simply replies, no, she merely gave them some toys to play with. She addresses the entire hall, asking if everyone just had a little fun. After all, there is a certain relief that comes from using one's power and cutting down foes. Kuzuha's idea of fun slightly concerns everyone. She clarifies that this is exactly the kind of deal the Academy wants, and urges them all to save the world once again. She speaks of the World Tree, a mystical tree connected to many worlds. She explains that in the past, a demon lord destroyed many of these worlds, but over time, with divine power, the demon lord was sealed away along with her own world. She is known as the Lost Demon Lord of the Lost World. A ripple of fear spreads through the freshmen. Kuzuha explains that it is now their responsibility to end such dark forces. She then informs them that their abilities will now be measured. Kuzuha pulls out a slip with names and reads them aloud. When Kyuya's name comes up, he freezes, wondering why he of all people is being called. Felice laughs longer than necessary. She instructs everyone on the list to follow her while the rest listen to the staff. Felice continues laughing and demands to know what exactly he has done to end up there. Kyuya sinks deep into his own thoughts. She gathers all 13 selected students in Hall B and addresses them directly. They need no test and are free to return to their quarters. The announcement stuns everyone. One student demands clarification. Kuzuha holds out her wrist, revealing a mark, and states that it is proof from the divine powers of saving the world. None of them have the mark because they were not reported as clearers. 13 students suddenly avoid eye contact. They either were deported or could not complete their battles. Whatever the case, they have all failed. She taunts them, branding them dropout heroes sitting at the very bottom. Some erupt in fury. She wishes them good luck and turns to leave. Just then, a voice calls out from behind, hurling an insult. She turns and addresses him by name, Kishima Takeru. She notes the anger in him and tells him it would have been better to use that anger against the Demon Lord's forces. This only fuels Takeru further. He lunges at her to attack. Felice rushes in to stop him, but he shoves her back, and she stumbles. Kyuya steps in just in time to catch her. Takeru rounds on Kyuya and demands to know if he wants to get involved. Kyuya calmly states that violence is not a good thing. Takeru snaps at him to shut up, which rattles Kyuya. Takeru turns back to Kuzuha and declares that he had been sent to a Stage 5 world and was on the verge of clearing it quickly. He claims that no one is stronger than him. Flames burst from his hands. He proclaims that he can turn every single person in the room to ash. Nobody applauds. Kyuya breaks into a cold sweat as he witnesses hellfire magic with his own eyes. Kuzuha stands unbothered, completely calm, as if all of this is routine. This attitude only ignites Takeru further. Just as he is about to attack, his power suddenly gets sealed. Even he cannot understand what happened. A girl appears behind him, moving swiftly with a sword in hand, circling him with sharp precision. Rei clearly has done this before. She places the blade directly at his throat and informs him that he has committed a rule violation, which will result in a point deduction. Kuzuha tells Rei that she has not yet formed their groups, so she should hold off on the deduction for now. Rei reins in her temper. Kuzuha tells everyone that they can see for themselves what their abilities are worth. Excuses are meaningless because none of them managed to qualify as saviors. She dismisses them to their quarters. Her words land heavily on everyone, and Kyuya thinks to himself that Kuzuha is right. Later, Kuzuha praises Rei for her dramatic entry, confiding that she finds it better to handle students like these with force. Rei accepts the praise without visible modesty. She mentions that Takeru's magic circle already seemed hollow to her. Kuzuha explains that Takeru's firepower has been neatly erased, though it is unknown by whom. Rei grows concerned, pointing out that no student has ever had this kind of interference before. She receives the answer that stronger students are always welcome here, and as long as they are on the academy's side, everything is fine. As evening falls, Kyoya arrives at his quarters, room 107. The atmosphere feels pleasant. Compared to other heroes, this is an entirely different world, yet somehow still feels like home. Felice immediately claims the best spot. She leaps out of the bag and announces that she finds this academy very interesting. The two begin talking it all over. She points out that by now both executive members must have noticed that it was Kyuya who neutralized Takeru's magic circle. He replies that he should not have been so hasty. Felice laughs and tells him not to worry. After all, he is already a dropout hero. Kyuya grows emotional and admits he never wanted to bring her here in the first place because he felt they could have made a peaceful fresh start in their own world. She begins mimicking him, imitating the way he normally talks. She is disturbingly accurate. She tells him that she knows Kyuya will always protect her. He shyly admits that yes, he will. Delighted, she tells him that today, Kyuya has finally given a manly answer. As he bashfully turns his face away, she shifts into her true form and draws close to his ear. She comes so close to him in her complete human form that she makes him nervous. He asks why she is naked, having assumed she had not yet regained her powers. She explains that even with the smallest amount of power restored, she can shapeshift. But for now, she will not be able to use magic for a while. Slipping into a playful mood, she teases him, asking why he is acting so bold, since he has always carried her body around. Kyuya's face answers before he can. He shyly clarifies that he only did that when she was in her cat form. She continues to tease him while he hands her some clothes to cover herself. Standing by the window, she tells him that she is truly grateful because in her own world, she was on the verge of fading away forever. Now she is seeing a new day, and that is all thanks to him. She turns to him teasingly, asking what he is thinking. Does he really believe she is following him around? After all, she is the one people call the Lost Demon Lord. If she did not like Kyuya, she would have finished him off long ago. Kyuya wisely chooses not to argue. She laughs and says that all of this reminds her of their past together. It reminds her of the day they first met, when Kyuya was lying on the ground in that world. He begins to recall how those 3 years in this world were equal to 30,000 years in that other world. That was when he first encountered the Lost Demon Lord. He almost defeated her and was on the verge of finishing it, and she was looking straight into his eyes. All of this pulls him deep into the memories of the past, back to the very first time he was transferred from his real world into another. The Demon Lord welcomes him, and there he stands, nervous, with only one thought consuming him. Who exactly is she, and what is this place? The demon lord draws close and asks if she has truly left him this confused. Kyuya's face confirms that she has. She extends her hand and helps him up, suggesting that they walk and take in this world. There is much to talk about. Gathering himself, Kyuya asks her who she is. She gives him a long introduction and then instructs him to simply call her Felice. He asks if this is a different world, and she tells him that he has figured it out quickly. This world is unlike any other and is known as the Lost World. A conversation unfolds between them. She reveals that everything in this world has been wiped out. Nothing remains but an endless wasteland. He asks why all of this happened, and she casually answers that, of course, she did it herself because she is the demon lord of this world. She says it as casually as others mention hobbies. The color drains from Kyuya's face instantly, and with fear in his voice, he wonders why someone like her, a demon lord, would ever need someone like him. She has already explained. She brought Kyuya here so that he could finish her. He asks why she cannot do it herself, and she clarifies that she is bound to her roots and cannot take her own life. This does not quite make sense to him, so she demonstrates. With a single snap, she conjures a spiritual core on Kyuya's body, revealing that both of them carry one, but hers is artificially constructed as a demon lord's core. Kyuya is still processing the first part. By that same rule, she cannot take her own life. He then wonders what would happen if he is unable to fight, and she assures him that she will personally train him and make him capable of it. Walking along, she leads him to a place that seems like a dead end. From her hands, she conjures a magical key, leaving him completely stunned. With a single gesture, she uses the key to break the seal on the lock, and the door begins pulling an immense amount of energy into itself. The two of them cross to the other side, where she welcomes Kyuya into her castle. The moment he steps inside, his eyes fall upon a towering mountain of treasure stretching as far as he can see. Riches are piled everywhere. Kyuya forgets to close his mouth. He is utterly amazed. All of this treasure is hers, collected after defeating and destroying world after world. Here he will find everything he needs to train himself and become capable of defeating her. She grows impatient and starts picking up different items one by one with excitement. Meanwhile, he wanders around, absorbing the scale of it all. Suddenly, his eyes land on a perfectly plain and simple sword. It feels so ordinary that it should not belong among all this treasure. Just as he reaches out to pick it up, Felice's warning voice cuts through the air, stopping him. That sword had been waiting to ruin someone. It is an ancient branch of darkness, a living sword. She has wielded it only 3 times in her entire life. She makes it clear that at Kyuya's current level, this sword could finish him the moment he touches it. Then she laughs, telling him to relax. Within 300,000 years, he will be capable enough to hold it. This blows his mind. She explains that in this world, 1 year equals 10,000 years, and launches into a long lecture that goes completely over Kyuya's head. She grows slightly emotional, saying that she does not have much time left, leaving him feeling down. Changing the subject, she notes that he must be tired, so she has arranged a welcome party for him. He realizes that this is how he arrived in this world. It feels like the training could be dangerous because he has no idea what it will put him through or whether he will survive. His first tasks include walking along a white line without losing his balance, eating with his non-dominant hand, and catching sharp objects without injury. According to Felice, humans cannot fully move their bodies as they truly want, but she will make sure Kyuya learns all of this properly. After 50 years of training, he can move his body exactly as he imagines, and with that comes a surge of power. By 100 years, he has gained considerable strength, but he still needs complete control over his body. 1,000 years later, he trains in magic with Felice's help. It proves incredibly difficult, and it takes him 10,000 years to master. After 30,000 years, he is capable enough that, combining physical strength and magic, he defeats the demons Felice creates with ease. Alongside his training, he realizes that in this world, he is Felice's only source of company. Nothing else exists for her beyond talking to him. Whenever he finishes his training for the day, Felice comes to him with delight, asking about his favorite tales. He tells her which story he will share, and she lights up with excitement. He notices that Felice has grown fond of his daily routine. She listens to his stories with great joy. A demon lord genuinely hooked on small talk. Her absolute favorite is the black cat Kyuya keeps at home. He tells her tales of that cat beautifully, which she loves. One day he mentions that the cat is a precious family member, and Felice finds this deeply touching. Suddenly, he realizes that she is just like his cat. This completely flusters her. Her face flushes red, and with a trembling voice, she asks what he means, whether she is family to him or if he simply finds her cute. This catches Kyuya off guard, and he quickly says it is nothing like that. Both turn their faces away from each other. Kyuya's eyes fall on some dead remains in the corner. As he looks, the memories Felice shared flood back. How she had killed men, beasts, demons, and everything that once lived. The corner silently tells a story, yet the woman before him now seems like nothing more than an ordinary girl. Summoning a bit of courage, he questions why she destroyed all those worlds. She grows slightly nervous, explaining that she was created for this purpose, to become the demon lord and bring worlds to an end. The version of her speaking to Kyuya now is a glitch that appeared after her job was done. By the time she gained consciousness, everything had already been destroyed. Kyuya is stunned. Was there truly no fault of Felice's in all this? She asks if that is really what he thinks, and whether the demon lord who ended worlds seems innocent. Kyuya's silence answers more than he wants. He slams his hand on the table and stands, questioning whether what she said about dying is simply a way to free herself from her sins. She laughs, challenging whether he thinks so highly of her. Taking a drink, she adds that the pain or happiness of others is irrelevant, but Kyuya shyly insists that she is lying. She grows slightly nervous, sets her drink down, and laughs, noting that in her eyes, Kyuya is far too kind. She cannot say if she is lying or telling the truth, but what matters is that she is tired of this never-ending imprisonment. This leaves Kyuya even more troubled as she walks away to rest before training. He begins to think he does not know how long Felice has lived in this wasteland, but another thought solidifies. If he succeeds in freeing her from this fate, perhaps she could live the life of a normal girl, the kind of life he told her about in stories. He imagines beautiful moments with her. If only there were a way to avoid having to kill her, or a turn of events where they could simply begin a life together. After 30,000 years, the day finally arrives when he and Felice must face each other. He is truly not ready. She suggests they walk and talk a little. She reveals that what Kyuya has not yet noticed is that Felice has not been freed from her roots. Her soul remains bound. This temporary body will not last much longer. When she swallows her destructive drive again, she will be capable of bringing destruction to worlds once more, with Kyuya included. The timing of this revelation is deeply unhelpful. He wonders what happens if he does not mind any of it. She laughs, calling him kind, but insists she will not allow that. To save the world, he must use his training and finish her. She then asks if Kyuya has perhaps developed feelings for her. He tightens his grip and questions what would happen if he admits he has. She pauses for a few moments, then calls him by name. She reflects that across these 30,000 years, she has had a truly wonderful and joyful time. She clarifies that she summoned him here randomly through a summoning spell, and he came for one purpose only, to train and to finish her. She grows emotional, expressing gratitude and relief that Kyuya will be the one to finish her. He wishes she had chosen different words. These words pierce straight through his heart. He draws his sword, and Felice welcomes it. Gathering every last bit of her remaining strength, she calls out to him to come forward and end it. She rises high into the sky, activating her destructive drive, and invites him to come and finish her. Looking into her eyes, Kyuya realizes these are the eyes of the real demon lord, the one bound by the destructive impulse. She launches relentless, ferocious attacks, and taking blow after blow, he finds himself thinking that the Felice he knew is not her. Using the magic she taught him, he does his best to defend himself, landing a few blows in return. 30,000 years of training suddenly feels insufficient. She presses the assault without pause, and as they fight, he sustains wounds even while inflicting them. In the midst of it all, he remembers the Felice he knew, always carrying a warm smile. The demon lord's terror is on an entirely different level. Kyuya draws on the magic she taught him, barely making a dent, though it helps him hold his ground. Deep inside, he does not want to hurt Felice. Every lesson she taught him, offensive magic, defensive magic, every single skill, was intended for one purpose, that he would ultimately use this power to finish her. Yet now a new feeling awakens within him. He cannot bear to let Felice die. She gave him something in this world he never had before, a reason to fight for more than duty. Amid the chaos, he calls out to the demon lord, explaining that all this time he has been giving, following her instructions, and that these 30,000 years were preparation for this moment. But now, he pleads with her to listen to him. Felice channels all her magic and surges toward him with full force, and he charges forward with his sword. His attack lands with massive impact, shaking the ground beneath them. He stands over the demon lord, on the verge of finishing it all, as she urges him to go ahead and kill her so he can return to his world. Coming back to her senses, Felice surfaces, apologizing for dragging him into this. The sword slips from Kyuya's hand. He reassures her there is no need for apologies. He tells her that if she is truly sorry, she should keep herself alive. These words sink deep into Felice's heart, yet she challenges him. Does he really want someone who crushed 3,000 worlds to continue living? Kyuya argues that perhaps none of this was her fault, that there must be another way. He is now defying his entire purpose. She counters that if that were true, she would have already freed herself with the living sword. The mention of it sparks something in Kyuya. Rising to his feet, he declares that it may be impossible, but not for Felice alone. She is stunned, uncertain what he intends. Using magic, he conjures a portal. He vows to free Felice's roots from the chains that bind her and separate the demon lord from her soul. She pleads with him not to, warning that failure would cost his own life. With a confident smile, he declares he already defeated someone like Felice. His confidence ignores his wounds. She warns that in this world, anyone cooperating with the demon lord must be given half a world in return. And that is precisely what Kyuya chooses, to take upon himself half of Felice's past, future, and all of her sins. Pushing his magic to its absolute limit, he opens the portal directly into Felice's treasure room and summons the living sword to himself. The sword pierces straight to Felice's soul, unleashing massive destruction. Kyuya feels his magical power slowly fading. A voice rises from ahead, insisting this is impossible. It is his own reflection, spawned by the living sword, taunting him about his failures and demanding he give up. But Kyuya refuses to let it sway him. Pointing at the reflection, he vows that this time he will not give up on Felice. Not for a single moment. He plants his feet firmly. Calling it by the sword's name, he demands Felice from it. When he drives his sword forward, the reflection fades, and the chains binding Felice's soul become visible. They held longer than most marriages. With one powerful strike, he cuts through them. Seeing Felice unconscious, he tells her she has suffered enough, and he will take her from here. He strikes another blow, unleashing a blinding light. Perhaps from recklessness, the impact also takes a toll on him. Moments later, he awakens on the ground. Opening his eyes, he calls Felice's name, only to find a black cat before him, looking entirely too comfortable. Slowly he realizes the cat is Felice. She laughs, speaking like herself, asking if she looks cute. He questions why she is in this form, and she answers that the living sword scattered her powers into tiny pieces, preventing her from returning to human form. That is why she feels lighter and freer. He asks if he truly succeeded. She admits not completely, noting that her intervention at the end prevented both from vanishing from the world entirely. He apologizes for his recklessness. She reassures him that it is because of him she is still here. She thanks him with a smile, lifting his spirits, and declares that her hands are finally free. Her binding roots are gone. Felice had waited longer than anyone for this moment. Now she is unsure of what to do next. Kyuya thinks for a moment and tells her he wants her to come with him to his world, to experience a normal life, but only if she truly wants to. She laughs, noting that after he once spoke of taking half of her, this invitation feels modest. After considering, she leaps onto him, declaring she absolutely wants to go. She wants to see what happens next in Kyuya's life and in his favorite manga. Just like that, they are summoned back to his world. Kyuya shows her Japan. Felice processes everything instantly. She is grateful they managed to sneak through the transfer gate unnoticed. Suddenly, Kyuya senses unfamiliar figures behind him. They call out, asking if he is a returnee from another world. One, a suited figure, steps forward and hands him an invitation from Ugratia State Academy, telling him to read it for details. As they attempt to leave, they tell him he cannot decline and vanish. Felice remarks that perhaps the time for a normal life has not arrived yet. Now lying in his quarters, Kyuya talks to Felice, lamenting that none of this should have happened this way, and apologizes for not giving her a normal life. Felice looks unbothered, slightly entertained, and says this is far more thrilling than a normal life. She asks what he plans to do. He questions what she means. She mentions the power she taught him, the one he has already surpassed her in. He replies that he has no interest in it, even if he wanted to, because they both know the consequences. Turning to the other side of his bed, he adds that standing out might reveal too much, and that he has already done far too much for what lies ahead. Felice reminds him that power has no inherent right or wrong, only how it is used matters. She offers him confidence, which he takes lightly. Meanwhile, outside the academy, the goddess who calls herself Lala eagerly awaits the incoming students, unable to contain her excitement. The first night at Ugratia Academy comes to an end. Kyuya walks through the corridor on his way to class, thinking that he has no idea what kind of experience awaits him. Keeping a demon lord by his side is already a problem in itself. He pulls out a book and flips through it rapidly, while Felice lets out cat-like sounds from inside his bag. When she pokes her head out, he explains that it's actually a strategy book for school called Secret of Communication. Felice finds it absolutely terrible. She has very strong opinions about self-help books. He tells her he needs to make friends to blend in with the people around him. After 30,000 years of only talking to Felice, he needs to refresh his communication skills. This irritates her, and she questions whether talking to her all this time felt strange. He explains that in that world, Felice never missed a single chance to bother him. She would even force him to drink, and the moment he healed, she immediately sent a new sorcerer after him. Felice goes quiet at that, while he grows slightly annoyed. He then notes that he has reached the glass gate, so Felice will have to communicate through telepathy. But the moment the door opens, he freezes in surprise. The classroom is completely empty. No one is in sight. Kyuya has arrived a full hour ahead of everyone else. Felice signals through their telepathic link that class begins at 8, and he has come too early. Just then, he hears a voice. He freezes, unsure whose it is or where it comes from. Carefully, he moves toward a classroom desk and notices someone sitting there. Peering over, he asks who it is. Lala looks up, flustered and annoyed, demanding to know what he is staring at. Kyuya wonders if she might be a lost child, which only angers her further. She snaps that she is not a child, introducing herself as Lala, and warns him not to mistake her for one. Kyuya realizes he made the mistake with too much confidence. Seeing her so riled up, he apologizes and asks her identity. She proclaims that she is the Divine Lady of the Academy, the most important being in this place. Kyuya is stunned, though he also worries about being exposed. Lala senses his doubt and offers to prove it with a display of power. She raises one finger and flaps her other hands like wings, but she cannot fly and ends up sitting back down on the desk. The demonstration needs much more preparation, she excuses, asking for a moment to catch her breath. Meanwhile, Kyuya checks with Felice through telepathy, and Felice confirms that she is indeed a divine lady, though her powers are somewhat limited. Scratching his head, Kyuya admits he has never seen a divine lady like this before, which surprises Lala. Felice quickly scolds him telepathically, warning him not to be foolish since divine ladies usually summon heroes. He must act carefully. Kyuya adjusts his words, explaining that he meant he has never seen a divine lady as talented and impressive as Lala. Lala eyes him suspiciously, filing the compliment under unlikely. She steps closer and observes that she suspects Kyuya is hiding something in his bag. He freezes, unsure how to respond. Felice also pauses, and Kyuya quickly instructs her to behave like an ordinary cat. After a brief struggle, Lala opens the bag and discovers Felice, who immediately plays the part of a normal cat flawlessly. Lala is delighted and hugs her tightly, scolding Kyuya for not mentioning she was with him. Felice endures the hug without resistance, and Kyuya feels that things are somewhat back under control. A little later, the classroom fills with students, their serious expressions making Kyuya think that perhaps the executive officer's speech left an impression. He inquires whether Lala herself is the teacher, as no one else has arrived. She compliments his instincts, but corrects him, explaining that she is not the teacher. He begins to wonder who the teacher might be. Just then, Kazuha enters, greeting everyone with a bright, "Good morning." The entire class, including Kyuya, freezes. One student mutters that he did not expect someone who seemed like a fellow student to be the instructor. Kazuha confirms their suspicion, noting that most expected a regular teacher to explain things. She explains that all students here are former heroes, each carrying certain powers, making a regular adult teacher unsuitable. Silence falls again as she continues. She has not been keen on this role either, since she does not know them well, so she prepared a special plan. As a starter, she produces a small gift, and when she snaps her fingers, the room fills with a strange magical energy. The gift comes with survival conditions. Kazuha adds that, as a senior, she will offer advice. They must take care of their lives. The students regain their senses to find themselves lying on the ground in an entirely new world, with a sky that looks stitched together. Felice signals from the bag that Kazuha used advanced spatial magic to create such a vast space. Kyuya is still processing Kazuha's plan when he hears a classmate scream, and the ground trembles under the footsteps of massive monsters. Kazuha informs them that these are her pets and predicts that the students will defeat them with ease, just as they did yesterday. Kyuya steadies himself, a dangerous smile on his face, ready to face the creatures head-on. The monsters do not account for his confidence, but the truly staggering fact is that these are no ordinary pets, they are monsters. Kazuha advises that the only way to survive is to avoid dying. Deep down, Kyuya thinks he suspected from the start that Kazuha had no intention of teaching in a normal way. Felice signals to him to take care, and he draws his sword, ready to fight. It has been a while since his last battle, so he treats this as a warm-up.
Here I am, know it's been a while. was in denial.